Hey, how's it going? If you're new here, my name is Jan and I love makeup. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. Today's part 2 in the eyeshadow collection declutter series I've got going. It's not really a series. I think it's only going to be 2 parts, possibly 3, depending on how today goes. I never know if I should do like shorter videos or longer videos. I feel like I prefer longer videos, but anyway, I'm just dragging it out now. So let's start with all of my Nomad palettes. I'm sure this won't come as a surprise to you. I will not be decluttering any of these. We'll start with the limited edition holiday ones. I have the Nomad Santa's Village, which was not this past holiday, but the holiday before. This was not the most well received. The shimmers in this palette were very different than what people were used to from Nomad, so it was a bit of a tricky one. And I've mentioned recently in videos that I'm no longer getting PR from Nomad, but my code still works. It's Jan. So does Shawnee's. So if you're going to order, use somebody's code. Then we have Home for the Holidays, which was my very first Nomad purchase. And that sent me into the love affair that I have going with Nomad Cosmetics. We have the Air palette. So those two I bought. This one Nomad sent to me in PR in 2023. So if I bought it, I'll mention that. And if it was a gift or PR, I'll mention that too. That way there's no confusion. And I have the Nomad and Tuscany palette. I have quite a few Nomad palettes. They all offer something a little bit different. I don't think I could rank them, but I definitely feel like I have ones that I'm drawn to. And this is the Lake Como. So pretty. And I'm pretty sure at this point I've used all of them, which was not the case for a little while. Then we have Nomad Marrakesh, which always gets the song stuck in my head. Such a fun palette. I just love their color stories. And the thing for me with Nomad is that their palettes are put together in a way that you can put any shade in the palette with any other shade, and it's probably going to work. We have the Nomad Tokyo. This is such a cute little palette. Holy moly. Pastels for days. And it has like a matte satin and then shimmer. It's so cute. So cute. We have the Nomad Cartagena palette. I played with this one on a particularly gloomy, snowy day, pretending that I was, in the Caribbean and not freezing in Vermont. Sometimes you just gotta use your imagination. And then we have the Provence palette. Again, so pretty. Holy moly. All these I purchased. I haven't said that, but it's true. I have. And we have Hudson Valley, which has my all-time favorite red matte of ever. I'm seriously considering purchasing a pack of this for that matte. It's so good. It's the best bright cherry specific red matte I've ever used, and I have been on the hunt for a red eyeshadow for quite a few years. That's the best. And then I have the Whistler Snow Lodge palette. Nomad actually gifted this to me because one of my subscribers wrote to them and said, Jan's a huge fan. And so they emailed me and asked if I wanted the next palette that came out. And I was like, yes, please. But I can honestly say this is genuinely one of my favorite palettes. Like if there was something unfortunately life-taking at my head and I had to choose one, or choose some, that would definitely be one of them. I love that palette so much. And then I have the Iceland palette. And again, this color story just, it's so good. We're still not done. We have America's Parks. I believe this was the very first palette where I'd heard Nomad mentioned, was the launch of this one. I didn't pick it up because I didn't know anything about them. And there was a time not that long ago when I thought only mainstream makeup was safe to use. How goofy is that? But that's not the way it is. Indie is perfectly safe and lovely. And we have the Haunted Europe palette. Mine has the front covered because it scares me. And that's what it looks like. And I am 99.999% sure that this palette is coming back for fall this year, 2024. So if you missed it, this will be your chance to get it. And then we have the Orient Express. I love this. That's what the inside looks like. I gotta say, the packaging Nomad does, like this is pillowy. It's actually squishy and velvety. The packaging, everything they do is like just a notch above what you expect. It's just always so good and thought through and amazing. This isn't a Nomad video, but there you have it. And we have Royal Europe. This one was gifted to me last year. Another fantastic palette. So good. And then we have Akavango Safari, which was also sent to me in PR. Stunning. And this like has the kind of, not faux fur, but it's got, you know, textured, velvety goodness. I just love it. No wonder Nomad kicked me off their PR. I can't form comprehensive sentences when I'm talking about the makeup. It's just so good and fun and exciting. I genuinely have such a good time playing with these eyeshadow palettes. And then we have the Ghost Town USA palette, was also sent in PR this year. So good. Just so, so, so good. And then we have the Verona Love and Death palette. Which was my first PR from Nomad. So, was it last year? Not this past year, but the year before. I did a full video all about the Nomad palettes I had. If that's something you'd like me to do again, let me know. Like if you want an in-depth information, swatches, whatever you want, I would do because, well, it's fun. I want to be helpful and I love Nomad. And then we have the Paradise Islands palette. Oh, God. So good. I just love it. And the thing with Nomad that I think I appreciate the most is that they're genuinely trying to do and be good. They released a palette and it wasn't well received. It actually kind of caused a bit of a ruckus and they pulled it. They said, okay, if it's not good, we're not gonna keep it on the market. Who does that? They're just so good. And then we have the Monteverde palette, which again, so good. All right, I'm gonna stop saying so good and Nomad, but do let me know, because obviously I could talk about this for days, and I am a huge fan. And definitely keeping all of my Nomad palettes, like I said in the beginning. But this next batch, I won't be keeping all of them. So if you're hoping for a declutter, you're gonna get it. Next, we have this Hip Dot Cenote, C-E-N-O-T-E palette. I got this ages ago, ages and ages and ages, and I genuinely really like this palette. So I'm gonna be holding on to this one for sure. Next we have the Violet Voss Taupe Notch palette. This was such a good palette. I'm pretty sure it was Tati who convinced me to get it. And I mean, it's just fantastic. The quality of this is so good. It's so good. But I am gonna let this one go. I just have other palettes that have that kind of color story that I reach for over this one. And if somebody else can use it, I want them to have it. I'm not gonna hang on to something just because I liked it once and then don't reach for it. That feels wasteful and oogie, so I'm not gonna do that. Now we have the ABH Nervina Volume 1 palette. This puppy is heavy. Let's see if I can get it open. That's what she looks like. I think these are okay. Like, fine. I'm gonna declutter this one because I don't reach for it. And I think somebody else will definitely enjoy it more than I do. And then I have the Hip Dot Zion palette. Zion. And it's a really pretty color story. And the quality is nice. So I'm gonna keep this one as well. Oh, we have the Huda Mercury Retrograde. That's a beautiful palette. I can see me using this in the upcoming months when spring gets here. It feels very like end of winter, early spring, so I'm gonna hang on to this one as well. I have the Huda Rose Quartz palette. Oh yeah. I really liked this one too, and I can see me reaching for it. I feel like this time of year. So maybe this will be something I play with pretty soon. Also, if there's anything that I'm keeping, like the rose quartz, that you want to see in a video, just let me know. I'm happy to film with whatever. I have the Hip Dot Clueless palette. Oh my gosh. I don't typically go in for IP. Yeah. But this one I had to because it's Clueless, and that's probably one of the best movies ever made. So I'll be keeping this one. If I ever did declutter it, I'm pretty sure it would have to go to Leanie. I think she would never forgive me if I give it to somebody else. And then I have the Profusion Mauves palette. I'm gonna declutter this one as well. I have plenty of mauves in my collection, and it is a very good palette. And somebody else I think will really enjoy having it. So I have Lunar Beauty Moonspell Volume 2. Remember when I said I was on the hunt for red eyeshadows? Yep. This palette I'm going to declutter. I just don't love it. It's not what I want when I see a color story like that. I need more from a palette than what this gives me. So I'm gonna declutter that to somebody who will appreciate it for what it is. And then we have the Norvina Volume 3. These are so heavy, holy moly. I was really excited to get this palette because I like the color story. I think I'm going to declutter this one simply because I have these shades and other formulas that I really like, and somebody else will get more use out of it and appreciate it more than I do. And then I have the Lunar Beauty Eternal Eclipse. This one's gonna go too. It's beautiful. It really is. I really, really like the color story. I just never reach for it. Yeah, so that one's gonna go as well. I have the Nomad Cosmetics Transitions palette, which I thought was a very cool idea. You can do a full face with just this palette, and the quality is very nice. I think she has a good formula. I almost never reach for this. And now that I have the Blend Bunny one, I probably would take that one over this one. So I think I'm going to declutter this one as well. And the last bit from this pile, we have the Ozzy Osbourne and Rock and Roll Beauty palette. I've only used this a few times. I got it because Mike is too cute. And Ozzy's got to stay. I mean, who doesn't want Ozzy in their makeup collection? So let me tally up who's staying and who's going, and I will let you know. Of this pile, I am keeping 27 and decluttering 8. That feels good. All right, let me get these put away and grab the next batch, and we'll do another one. All right, let's do the next batch of palettes. We're gonna start with my Natasha Denona palettes. I have several. So we have the Circo Loco palette. When this came out, I was so excited. The color story, everything about this made me happy. And it still makes me happy. I did use this recently-ish, and I really liked the formula still. So I'm gonna keep Circo Loco. And then I have Biba. Let's see, I haven't used this one in a while. That's really pretty. I remember when I saw this being launched, it struck me as so pretty. I think I'm gonna keep this one too. I have the Glam Face palette, and this is in the dark version because I like punchy eyeshadows, but I think I'm going to let this one go. I don't enjoy the blush or highlighter in here, and I have all of those shades of eyeshadow, so that can go. And I have the Sunset palette, which I got in a mystery box, and this is so pretty. I have not used this nearly enough, so I'm going to keep this one for sure. I'm going to come back to Biba and Sunset in a minute. We have the Love palette, and I know this one, not everyone loves this one. Loves the Love palette. But I like the color story. I'm gonna keep this one. And then we have Zendo. Which is really, really pretty. I'm gonna keep this one too. And we have Glam, which I'm also going to keep. These are just so pretty. All right, let's look at Retro. This is really pretty too. Yeah, I'm gonna keep retro as well. And we have the Sunrise palette. So if I have sunrise, do I need sunset? And vice versa. Let's take a reconnoiter. You know, they are a little bit different. All right, they can both stay. And I have the Tropic palette. That's what this one looks like. This one can go. I don't mind letting go of this one at all. I did not love it. I wanted to. I was so excited to get it, but definitely not one that I'm super excited about. And then I have this Nomad palette that I put a bunch of the like 5-pan into. So yeah, I think I can declutter this one. I feel like I have all of the rest of the shades in the other palettes that I am keeping. So let's go back to Biba. Yeah, I'm gonna part with Biba. I don't think I need to keep this. I feel pretty good about the other ones. So, okay, that's good. I like that. Next, we have a couple of random palettes and then my BH palettes. We have the Casper and Profusion palette. I was so surprised by this. It's beautiful. I've done 2 looks with it and I really liked them both. So I'm gonna hang on to this one for a little bit longer. And if I did end up decluttering it at some point, it would simply be because I have so much in my collection already because the quality is fantastic. I haven't tried all that Profusion has to offer, but what I have tried has been really good. Then we have the Kaleidos and Angelica palette. This is not going anywhere. I will probably have this one forever. And I have the Kaleidos Escape Pod palette. I wanted to love this. I used it one time and didn't feel excited to reach for it again. The eyeshadows look so fun and so pretty, but I've got Blend Bunny and Gloss Gods and so many brands that I already like and reach for. So I think I'm gonna declutter Escape Pod. Next up, we have the BH Avocado Toast palette. So good. I'm keeping this one. And we have Blueberry Muffin. Almost a disaster. Again, absolutely beautiful. Love, love, love those palettes. Lost in Los Angeles. I full on loved this palette. Like so much. But I think I'm ready to declutter it. I did not see that coming. It's happening right now, this very as we speaking. I never thought I'd get rid of this, but we have Cosmic Brushes and Blend Bunny and a lot of other options that might be just a little better. That's still a fantastic palette, don't get me wrong. It's great. So whoever ends up with it is going to really enjoy it. We have Passion in Paris. If you know me, you know there's zero chance I'm getting rid of this one. I love this palette. I have so much fun every time I break it out and use it. So this one's staying. And I have Hanging in Hawaii. It's such a pretty palette. It's so like everyday, like wearable, neutral. But I'm gonna keep it because what if I need that and I want it from BH? Then we have Party in Puerto Rico. This one I have not opened. It still has the plastic over it. So I think I need to keep it and use it. Yeah. And then we have the BH Cosmetics and Shan XO. This was the remix. So there's this side, which I believe was the original. And then the other side of the original. Oh no, this was it. This was the original. And in the original one, the other side was lipsticks. So I'm gonna keep this. I think this might have been my first, not this one, but the original one might have been my first BH Cosmetics purchase. I learned about them from Shan XO, who I found because of a nail polish channel, because I didn't know Beauty YouTube was a thing. So yeah, I have to keep the Shan palette. And then I have all of the, what were these? These were like, I thought these were called something, but all of the like word ones. This one is Looking Like a Snack, which I mean, so pretty. Keeping that one. And then we have F Off. Again, so pretty. The color stories are just spectacular. And then we have Optimistic AF. All those warm tones, so pretty. How many times can I say so pretty? And then we have Low Key Love You, which I was really excited about because of the reds. Still not Nomad red. Keeping that one though. And then we have Do Not Disturb. Just lovely. Keeping that one. And then we have Let That Shiz Go. It's beautiful. Absolutely wonderful. If I were being forced to declutter my collection and I had to make it smaller for whatever reason, I think I would probably keep this one and then declutter Avocado Toast. But since this is a choice and I don't have to get rid of anything I don't want to, I'm keeping that. And I have 5 of the 6 Sweet Shop palettes. So we have Pistachio, surprise, it's green. And then we have Cotton Candy. I'm pretty sure this is one I just used. So pretty. And we have Bubblegum. This mirror is broken. I don't know if I knew that. I'm keeping. And then I have Orange Sorbet. Gorgeous. And orange, which, you know, it's one of my faves. And the brand new one to me, Cherry on Top. This was the only one that I wanted and I couldn't get my hands on. So our Nikki Lynn, helped me find it and I was able to purchase it. So let me tally up this batch. Okay, so I'm keeping 26 and decluttering 6. That feels good. All right, I'm going to get these put away and then I'll come back with the last batch. All right, I'm back with the last batch. So let's start with the Melt Amore y Mariposas. I got this palette at Shawnee's insistence that I would like it, and she was right. I really like this palette so much. I'm going to keep this one for sure. And we'll stick with Melt for a minute. I have the Millennial Pinks. Susan bullied me into getting this one, and I'm so glad she did, because look at this. It's beautiful, and it was on way sale at Sephora, so I'm really glad Susan bullied me into this because it's so good. Thank you, Susan. Let's go Unearthly. So I have this little, is this a 6 or an 8? 8-pan palette that came in one of the mystery boxes over the summer. So good. So good. Definitely keeping this one. I don't know how many of these I'll end up actually decluttering. In the big mystery box this summer, this was from Unearthly as well. I don't know that this palette will survive too many declutters, but I've barely used it, so I want to hang on to it and really try it some more and see how I feel. And then from the Valentine's mystery box from Unearthly, we have the Surrender palette. When I saw this, I was like, oh man, it's just another neutral palette. But turns out I like it a lot. It's very, very good. So I'm really glad that I have it and didn't just get like, it is neutral. So silly. And then I have the In the Dark palette, also Unearthly. I think these are all Unearthly for a minute. And when I first got this, I did a look and hated it. I just thought, this palette is not for me. It's no good. And then I did a copy kitty from Leora. I'm not going to say her name right. It's in my copy kitty, her video, in my copy kitty video using this palette if you want to check it out. And I'm really glad that I did copy kitty her, because it turns out I really liked the look. I just didn't know what I was doing with it. So yeah, I mean, it was really cool to figure out how to use it and not just give up. And then I have the Strawberry Milkshake from Unearthly. This is just, this screams summertime to me. I don't know why, but it does, and it's fun. I've used every shade in here, I believe, and really enjoyed them, so that can stay. And then I have Fairy Frolic. That's what this one looks like. You know, I think I might declutter this one. The formula is excellent. The eyeshadows are stunning. But I don't see me reaching for this one. And I would rather declutter it so somebody who will love it and use it can have it. So I am going to declutter this one. That's a surprise. Next, we have my Gloss Gods palettes. We have What's Your Power? If I held it the right way, you could see it. This came in the advent calendar. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but it looks like I'm going to have a really good time when I do finally use it. It looks so fun. Very excited about that, and I'm definitely keeping it. And then I have the Lavender Skies, which came in the advent calendar. I've only used it one time, and I really liked it, so I'm going to keep this one. And I have Look for Rainbows, which is just phenomenal. This is a beautiful palette. Oh my gosh. It's all like special shades, so it's not a standalone, but it's very pretty. And then we have the new neutrals. This is glorious. This shade right here is very chunky and does not look cute on my eyes, as is this one. That one I can make work for the most part, but the rest of these are beautiful. So I'm going to keep this one as well. Next, we have my Viseart. What are you? There's writing on it, but my old eyes cannot see it. It's just a neutral matte palette, but it's stunning. If you need just, yeah, I'm gonna keep this one as well. Oh, this is my only Cleona palette. It is the Dragon Fruit that they did with Emily Violet Marie. Let's see if I can get it open. I love everything about this palette, like everything. I love the ridiculous packaging, the color. I love, love, love this palette. It's so much fun. Definitely keeping this one. We have Cimmerian Sunset from Adept. Now, I thought this was a Star Wars. It's not. It's Star Trek, I think. Yeah, so I got the theme wrong, but the oranges in here grabbed me and was like, we need to come live with you. So I have that one and I'm keeping it for sure. And then also from Adept, I have Ninhydrin, which I thought was the right one, but I was wrong. But it's still beautiful and I haven't had it long. I'm going to keep this and play with it. Yes. Next we have the NBA Cosmetics Cosmic Bubbles palette. This is totes adorbs. It's so cute. I don't really reach for it much, so I'm gonna let this one go to somebody who will play with it and appreciate it more than I have. But if you need nail polish and you can get NBA Cosmetics, highly recommend. It's what I'm wearing on my nails now. It's usually what's on my nails. Next, we have two from Glaminatrix. We have the Into the Night palette, which is glorious. I love this. It's so pretty. I'm keeping this. And then the Nocturnal palette that Shawnee gave me. So cool. Completely different and like murky, and if you've ever breastfed a baby and changed their diaper, that looks familiar. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this one as well. We have the Menagerie Sugar High palette. This is so cute. This is just a fun palette. And I've mentioned in the other video, did I mention this one yet? That I have a whole video on my channel with all of the new palettes that came into my life this year. That includes the looks that I did with them, the ones I could find anyway. So I'll link that in the description box if I can remember. But I have a DIY or build your own from Lethal. You know, I'm gonna hang on to it because I think I'm going to like get all of my singles together and put them in a palette or something so I can use them more. I think I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna hang on to this for now. Some of the shades will be decluttered, but for now, they're gonna stay. I have this Cara Beauty Biscuit Tin palette, which is kind of coming apart. So silly. The quality was very good, actually. Like, there is nothing wrong with the quality of this palette. Obviously, I can't really store it anywhere, but I'm gonna hang on to it for now. It's just too cute not to. Next, we have Sydney Grace. In this Nomad palette, I have the Mel's Memory collection that Sydney Grace released. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, I've got to use these more. They're not going anywhere. They're so pretty. And of course, Tiny Marvels. Mel is missed, that's for sure. Definitely keeping this one, probably forever. And then I have the Enduring Love palette from Sydney Grace, which is just a beautiful palette. Just, man, everything about this. You know what I think it is? I think it makes me think cozy. Like, just like snuggled up and lovely. I'm keeping this one. Cozy is definitely my idea of a good time, so. And then we have the Tropicolor palette that Sydney Grace did with Tina from the Fancy Face. And I really like this one for completely different reasons. This is just so much fun. I love this palette. I've used it a whole bunch of times. This one shade called Dr. Bird, I don't like it. I don't know why. I should like it. Maybe I just haven't used it the right way. But I'm keeping the palette. I want to love Dr. Bird. It looks fun. We have this Jungle Lights from Flower Beauty. I don't think I've ever used this. I know I've swatched it. I've never used it. I'm going to declutter it. And then I have the Bridgerton and Pat McGrath palette. I've used it a couple of times. I don't regret buying this because I like Pat McGrath. I love the Bridgerton series. The books are amazing. The show is amazing. So I'm glad that I got it and tried it. I don't reach for it. You're going to get 2 looks out of this palette, and that's it. So I'm going to pass this on as well. One more melt palette. I have the Gemini. This came in a mystery box. And that is the color story. I'm going to keep this. I haven't had it very long at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure I got it in 2023. So it's like brand spanking. I have a few here from Ace Beauté. I have Vintage Dawn. Look at that color story. It's so fun. And I really like Ace Beauté, so I'm going to keep this one. And I have Scarlet Dusk. That's pretty. I might have to use this one. And then we have the Nostalgia palette. Again, so good. I really, really like Ace Beauté. I've decluttered some of their palettes in the past, and I got the palette Opoly and gave it to the grandbabies. I thought they'd have more fun with it. I'm really considering repurchasing it. And then we have the Oceanic palette. So good. Oh my gosh. That's gorgeous. I love it. So keeping all of those. And the last one I have, dun dun dun, it's the BH Cosmetics Zodiac palette. It's still in the little sleeve because I haven't used it. I had it. I used my daughter's that I gave her from my collection. I used it for a throwback video and realized how much I loved it, and I repurchased it. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this one too. I'm telling you, BH was doing some stuff. Boy, howdy. All right, let me tally up the final numbers and we'll wrap this video up. Okay, final numbers. I started out with 192 palettes, which I don't think is that bad. I'm decluttering 54 and keeping 138. Now I do have the Steph's Pure palette as well, so I technically have 139, but that's exciting. And again, nobody's forcing me to do this. I'm doing it because I'm not actively reaching for a lot of these palettes, and I have friends and family who will play with them and really enjoy them. So it would be selfish and gross for me to hang on to them when I know other people can get some use out of them, whereas I can't. So that's all of my eyeshadows. Like I said, I do have that video. I'll try to remember to link it below, where I talk about all the new palettes this year, well, 2023, and the looks that I did with them when I remembered or could. But definitely let me know if you see anything here you want me to use specifically, a color story, palette, brand, anything. I am open to all suggestions. on what to do with makeups on my channel. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate hanging out with me today. Be good and remember to be kind to you.